Ravelry says these patterns are hot right now, and you know what? I'll be the judge of that. Hi, my name is Taylor, and welcome. Today we are doing something that we've done before, and it's a lot of fun, and I know a lot of you guys have been asking for another one just like this, and that is Ravelry Roulette. We're heading straight into Ravelry's Hot Right Now list, grabbing a random number generator, and we're letting fate decide what patterns we look at. 5 patterns to be exact. Totally random, absolutely no cherry picking. And here's the twist this time. I am judging these, determining whether or not I find them to actually be as hot as Ravelry deems them to be in their Hot Right Now list. And I'm judging them purely on the public stuff, or at least public in terms of members of Ravelry. The photo, the pattern page, the vibe, the clarity, whether or not it's something that gives me itchy fingers to cast on, no peeking inside the pattern page itself, no navigating away from the actual page. This is literally judging a book by its cover. It's shallow, 100%, but sometimes extremely revealing. And yes, before you think that why is Taylor placing herself high on her high horse and judging whether something is hot, it's just my opinion, and it's just for fun, and it's okay if you don't agree with me, and everything is for everybody, and you take what you will from all of this, and just know that we're having fun. And that's all this is. And if you don't agree with my take on these patterns, feel free to let me know down in the comments, but don't be offended if I don't like something that you do, because we all have preferences, and that's a good thing. And again, you really have to remember here, like I said, this is all based on the Ravelry pattern page. The photos used, the information in the pattern page, and all of that. I've never knit any of these. I've never seen a final finished object. It's just based on essentially the cover, okay? And yeah, is that the greatest way to deem whether something is hot or not? Absolutely not. But is it fun, and can it reveal a lot of things, you know, off the cuff, and probably lead us to learning how to find great pattern pages that give us the information we need to know whether or not we want to invest in that pattern? Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive in. Okay, so here we are. We are now at Ravelry's browse section of patterns. So you can find this by going to patterns up at the top here. You can see my cursor, and then going, instead of typing something in, just going to advanced search. And then that gives you all of like the browse features. I have this filtered out to hot right now. You can do other things as well. You can do best match and new to Ravelry, random order, but we're sticking with hot right now because that's what we're doing. We're judging whether or not, you know, we think these things are as hot as they are made out to be here. And the reason why they're designated as hot right now is because they're trending for one reason or another. They're popular. They are what are getting eyeballs at the moment. Okay. And that's cool. It's cool to see what's poppin' on Ravelry. Okay. And again, please, this is all in good fun. I don't think I need to remind people of that. We should all just be reasonably, you know, just manage your expectations. Manage your emotions, okay? It's just opinions. Okay, so the way this is gonna work is I am going to start by going, there's 2,084 pages of hot right now. I mean, eventually you're gonna get to one of those pages and it's just the dregs, right, of the category. So we're gonna stick within the top 10 pages of the hot right now. So we're gonna do a random number between 1 and 10. And then we are going to do a random number between 1 and 48 for the different listings or the different items within that page. So let's take a look at this. But first, before we do that, I want to share with you the rubric that I created on Canva, which you can see. I'm going to pull this up really quick. Hold on. So this is the rubric that we're going to be using. I'm just going to keep this kind of off to the side over here. This is the hot right now. I'll be the judge of that rubric. And this is where we give each pattern a score using this criteria. So the first is the first glance sizzle. First glance sizzle is more related to the photo. How's that sizzle when you see the photo for the first time, like that main thumbnail photo? Then the second is page presence. That's everything to do with the pattern page itself. How organized is it? How laid out is it? All of these kinds of things. The next one, and you're gonna have to pardon me, I'm somewhat scatterbrained right now because I just got done helping at my kids' school and I did 2 classes, and in each class I taught them how to make paper snowflakes, and it was great and I had the greatest time, and the snowflakes are beautiful, but my Lord, that can really take it out of you. And I even have, 9 years of teaching experience, so here I am. Number 3, practical temptation. That means, does it tempt me as something that I actually wouldn't either want to knit or want to use or wear? Is it really something that's tempting me practically? I think practical temptation is a really annoying way to frame that. It's just, is this practical? And am I tempted to knit it based on its practicality? I don't know, whatever. Take from that what you will. The next one is design intelligence. Are there some interesting, features here that I can see in the photos or I can discern from the pattern description that might show that this is, intelligently designed? Not convoluted, not overcomplicated, just intelligently designed. There's some thoughtful shaping going on. And then the last one is trend compatibility. If it's in the hot right now section, it's gotta feel like it's 2025 going on to 2026. Does it feel like it's got something new and original or even within the modern scope of trends for knitwear? Okay? You guys, I'm not an expert in any of these criteria. We're going on first impressions and these random criteria I came up with. Okay? That's what we're doing. You guys can do this on your own. You can play along at home. Okay, let's go back to, here we are, the Ravelry hot right now. We're going to do a random number selection from 1 to 10. Generate 3. We are then going to navigate to page 3. Now that we are at page 3, we are going to do 1 through 48. There are 48 listings or results on each page. 25. There's 6 here, so we're going to 6, 12, 24, 25. All right. So this is where we are. This is number 25. This is the Songbird mittens pattern. Now, my first glance sizzle here, I'm looking at these. I mean, I see a lovely pair, and again, I'm right here. I see a lovely pair of very Scandinavian-inspired mittens by Erica Hauser, with a lovely bird on them. I don't know. Right now, I see them and I think to myself, they're lovely. They're lovely. I don't think this is something that catches my eye in the sense that like I want to knit these, but they're really beautiful. I almost wonder if it were a different color. I don't know. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we're working with here. I'm going to give that first glance sizzle. I'm going to give it a 3. It kind of sits somewhere in the middle. I'm drawn in because I like the way the bird looks and I think it looks crazy intricate. But I don't know. And look at that thumb. Oh, it's beautiful. But I'm going to give it a 3 because it's just kind of, there's something about that that's like putting me at a distance. Okay, here we are. We are now, what are we doing? Let's do page presence. Okay, page presence. This is scrolling down. I really feel like there could be more information here, but I don't know. I haven't read what is present, so I might be wrong. I have all the usual suspects right here. I can see that it's knitting, it's mittens. It was published September 10 years ago, 2015. I can see the 2 types of suggested yarn. It's a fingering weight. I have my gauge. Pretty cut and dry. It's available in English. I have my price, $6. Okay. This nature-inspired pattern is recommended for intermediate level knitters who have experience with stranding and working from charts. Stranding and working from charts. Okay. I like that. This little note at the top here I think is helpful, and a lot of patterns do this, but a lot of patterns don't, or I should say pattern writers, designers, whatever, is putting here who this is for. Okay, in terms of like your level, and not just saying intermediate or beginner, but if you're saying intermediate, what is it about being an intermediate knitter that is going to lend itself to this pattern? What are you hoping this knitter is able to do well? And in the case of this, they're letting you know you need to have some experience with stranding, color work, and you need to be able to read a chart. I mean, you could go into saying, well, you have to be able to decrease in shape, maybe you have to do short rows or whatever, but if the stranded color work and the working from chart is like the really key thing, like the piece that you have to be able to do, then that's important to mention, because again, it's so much better when a knitter knows going in, this is what's going to be expected of me here, essentially, before they make the purchase to invest in that pattern, right? And then they're not disappointed. It helps you help them to manage their expectations. All right, we have one size, women's medium. It tells you that you're using a fingering weight yarn and 2 contrasting colors, gives you the needles, the gauge. So this information right here is mostly what's up here. The only thing that's different is it's giving me the finished measurements and it's giving me the notions that you're going to need. Okay, and then it gives me the following skills are required. Again, I love to see this. I think this is really important. It tells you that you need to know the long tail cast on, knitting in the round with DPNs and magic loop, or magic loop. That's important. Or magic loop. 2 color stranding, basic increases, basic decreases, and it gives you which one you need to be able to do. Backward loop cast on and picking up stitches. See, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of information present here, but obviously it doesn't really require a lot of information here. What you're being given right here, as well as these photos, is all you really need to make a decision if this is going to be the pattern for you, especially because it tells you what skills are required. I think that's great. It makes the person feel good about purchasing. And then of course they can look at the photos. Now, when I look at this, and this is, let's go back here because I have page presence. I'm going to give the page presence a 4. I mean, I don't even know why I wouldn't just give it a 5. No, I'm giving it a 5. You know why? It gives me everything I need. It tells me the following skills that are required, what kind of knitter it's for based on level. It's also showing me several photos of the mittens in different colors. That's great. So we're going to give a first glance sizzle is a 3 for me. Just, you know, it's just me. But the page presence is definitely a 5. They know what they're doing. Practical temptation. I feel like the photo didn't draw me in because I just feel maybe if the photo showed the mittens on a person's hands outside in a snowy place, right? I don't know if the person who took this photo has, you know, access to that. So they're probably thinking, you know, I'm taking a photo of these mittens the best way that I know how, but I'm just telling you in an ideal situation, if I were to try to rank this as a 5 for first glance sizzle, I would, you know, I want to see those on somebody's hands. I want to get a shot that's got more space around the mittens to get more context. That would bring it up to a 5. Right now, as it sits just on this kind of warm wooden background, it's definitely a 3. But it also shows me that these are very involved mittens. I mean, there's a lot of stranded color work going on here. And I do enjoy color work, but I'm not drawn in necessarily to doing this just like immediately. There's a lot of work going on here. I mean, I don't know. So my practical temptation, is it practical? Sure, these are very practical. Just because they're fancy and decorated doesn't mean they're not practical. These are mittens. They're fantastic. But am I tempted? I don't know. I think the intricacy of the design puts this at maybe a 3 for me. Middle of the road. I don't know if I need mittens with a bird on it. These would be great to knit as a gift for somebody, though. Extra special. I think they're absolutely stunning. But that's my thought. Design intelligence. I can't tell you too much about the intelligence of the design here because I don't see anything in the pattern page that would tell me. I mean, I can look at the photos. Like, let's take a look at some of these. Like, I can see here that we have a basic mitt. I don't necessarily, you know what I do like though? Do you see this row of stitches right along the edge of the thumb? I think that's really special. It kind of runs along the edge over here as well, and I'm kind of wondering how that works. And also too, the shaping of these, like, there's obviously a great deal of intelligence in this design because of the placement of all the different stranded colorwork sections and how they're different. And also this flower here. Oh gosh, the more I think about it. I mean, initially, my initial reaction was like, these are just mittens, which is a very shallow reaction because when you look at this, you realize those are not just mittens. Those are art. Do you know what I like is this corrugated ribbing here? Is that what you would refer to that? This like stranded, you know, striping that's happening right here and the shape that it creates, like these scallops here in the color work. That's incredible to me. The more I'm sitting with these mittens, the more the higher the score is getting when you sit and really look at them and really appreciate them for what they are. You know what? Design intelligence, I'm giving it a 5. Of course I'm giving it a 5. Those are crazy intelligent. Yeah, absolutely. Giving him a 5. That's remarkable. In terms of trend compatibility, I think this is the kind of mitten that is relatively timeless. It's very it's tied to like Scandinavian culture. It's got this like Scandinavian aesthetic. So when it comes to whether it's trendy or not, I wouldn't say that. I think that this transcends trends. Okay. So trend compatibility, I would give it a 5 because it doesn't matter what the trend is. You could have somebody wearing a super trendy 2025, 2026, winter outfit with a pair of these on as like a cool accent, and it would only make the outfit cooler, right? Because it transcends whatever the trends are. So it's a 5. Okay, so what are we scoring this? I have here for first glance sizzle, we gave this one a 3. Page presence, we gave it a 5. Practical temptation, I gave it a 3. Design intelligence a 5 and trend compatibility a 5. So we have 5, 10, 15, 21. 21 out of a total of 25. And that is, if we're going to do actual percentages here and give like a how hot is it score, 100% being the hottest, we are at an 84%. It is 84% hot. These Songbird mittens, 84% hot, folks. All right, moving on. Let's go to the next one. Here we are. Let's just get things out of my way. Generate. 4. Let's go back. Page 4. And then we're going to open up to 48 random page 30 or item 35. 6, 12, 18, 24, 2, 3, 4, 35. Okay, go back. Okay. 35 is this one right here. I'm going to pull it up. This one right here, Lily's Sweater Junior by Nashwa Soccer. I don't know how to pronounce that. Lily's Sweater Junior. I love what I'm seeing there. The only thing that it says junior, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that is an adorable sweater. And I see the word junior, it makes me wonder, is there an adult version of that sweater? Because big time, looking at that, like the way the collar folds over the buttons, the whole shape of the sweater is like perfect. The way that it kind of cinches in at the bottom with the band, the hem at the bottom. I am giving this one a 5 for first glance sizzle because that is so adorable. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open it up. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's definitely a 5. First glance sizzle is a 5. The fact that this is alpaca, it's Surrey, and something else, it's a Surrey pairing. Oh my gosh, can we just... Oh my gosh. Oh goodness, look at this. Look at these, look at this. Look at the ribbing happening on the collar here. How beautiful is this? So now we're going to jump to design intelligence because I'm already seeing some really amazing details happening here. The placket where the buttons are, this button band, the ribbing is amazing. It's like a 3x2 rib or a 2x2. It looks like 1, 2, 3. It looks like a 3x2 or a 3x3. I'm not exactly sure, but this ribbing is fantastic. And then it's separated with this row of stockinette stitch right here. And then from there, we have this collar and this other ribbing that's happening here going in kind of a different direction. Like, what? I just think this is great. I'm giving design intelligence a 5. I have my first glance sizzle is a 5. Design intelligence is a 5. I'm going to look for page presence. I see all the usual suspects here. I have my yarn weight, my gauge, the different needle sizes, all of this, the yardage I'm going to need, plus the sizes in children's sizes. It's available in English. We have our pattern price. It says that the pattern is currently 20% off until the 14th of December. Yeah, this gives me all the information that you need to know if you're going to have the yarn that you need for the project, but also it gives you the difficulty level and it breaks down the different techniques that you're going to need to know in order to complete this particular design. And then it gives a little bit of a description. It says Lily's sweater is knitted top down, starting with the back yoke, which is worked back and forth while shaping shoulders and back neck with short rows. After that, stitches are picked up across the shoulders to form the front yoke, then the collar and the front bands are knitted. Both yokes are then joined together to work the rest of the sweater's body in the round. Stitches for the sleeves are then picked up, the sleeve cap is shaped with short rows and then continued in the round. It gives the measurements of the sweater. Then we have notes. Any change in stitch or row gauge or switching to yarn of different composition might not give you the same finished measurements or the finished look. The pattern is only available in English and it is not guaranteed that the pattern would be clear if it were translated using translating applications or Google. Interesting. No refunds are available for PDF downloads. Okay, so just some information there from the designer. This gives me all the information that I would need to know to make the purchase. So I'm going to say the page presence is a 5. Now, practical temptation. This is where, as much as I love this and I'm tempted, and I know there's probably an adult version of this because it says junior. I don't know if it... Yeah, okay, we have to treat this as its own thing. So my practical temptation to knit this is probably a 3, only because I don't think I would knit this for a child in my family, because I wouldn't get the wear and the appreciation as I would want it to. I would rather it for myself because I will wear it longer, okay? And I would appreciate it more. If this were an adult sweater, that design temptation would be a little higher. Maybe a 4. A 5 means like I'm rethinking what I'm working on right now to make room for this thing that I found, and I'm not there with this one. However, I do think it's absolutely stunning, and I think someone ought to, that's for sure. Trend compatibility, again, this is a 5. We're looking at a timeless style of sweater here, so regardless of what the trends are, this is going to fit right in line with that. It's just such a classic timeless sweater, okay? So I'm giving it a 5. So right now we're sitting at 5 for first glance sizzle, a 5 for page presence, a 3 for practical temptation, a 5 for design intelligence, because I mean, it's gorgeous. And then I have a 5 for trend compatibility. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 23 out of 25. So how hot is this one? It is 92% hot, y'all. 92% hot right now. Okay, 92. All right, moving on. 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 32. Oh, go back. I have to remember. First glance sizzle. Okay. Now remember, sometimes the way that the pattern is viewed in my eyes, there's a bug flying. Go away, shoo. Is this all based on like your photography here? That first glance is whatever photograph is used as that main photo is going to dictate the score of the first glance sizzle. Okay, so you could have something that once I click into it and look at the pattern page, I'm completely blown away by. You have to apologize. I'm getting over a cold, so my nose is stuffy. However, that initial photo is really important. So this is the Moccasin sweater by Thea Coleman, and it's right here. That thumbnail photo doesn't show me a lot of context. I see the base of a sweater and a woman holding her hands in her pockets, and I can see that there's a shirt kind of tucked out from under, but I don't get the big picture here. I don't even know what the upper shape of that sweater is. Chances are I will scroll by this without even batting an eyelash because there's not enough here to draw me in. I mean, I see this really gorgeous, almost like a Celtic knot looking cable in the middle from what I can see here, but I don't know much else. So in terms of first glance sizzle, I'm dropping this one down. I'm sorry, but this is a 2 because really, and I'm being generous, I could put it at a 1 because I would scroll right by that. Because not only is it not showing me enough context in terms of the photo, the color is also pretty neutral in how gray it is. And so it's not going to help punch up, or draw my eye. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Let's see if we can change things. It's Thea Coleman. Of course it's gorgeous, but let me just tell you, if this photo here any part of, like, you don't even have to put her whole face in it, even though you should, because she's lovely. But even if you were to take this photo and, like, let's say it were from here to the sweater here, huge difference in kind of how drawn I am to this, because look at this amazing neckline with these buttons over here. What a cool detail. Just the overall shape, the high and tight, well, it's not even that tight, but just that high neckline. These gorgeous sleeves that have cable work on them. Even this picture right here, this one gives you an overall idea of the shape of the sweater. I don't know, because if this were a small image, maybe you wouldn't really be able to appreciate at a glance those details, but what it would do is it would give you the overall proportions of the sweater on a person, on a body, and that would draw your attention. And then you would click on it and you would see the details. Or you could put something in there like this. Again, it gives you some of the details, this really interesting construction. We almost have like a set in sleeve and drop shoulder combination happening here, which is really interesting. We'll be back talking about that. But I just felt like that first glance sizzle is really, this photo's just not doing it for the first glance sizzle. I mean, this is a lovely photo, but you don't see this on that first page. You see it much more cropped. Okay, you see this, right? So I don't know. That's kind of the trade-off, is I feel like that one is a 2. Okay. Page presence. This is Thea. She's a professional. She knows what she's doing. Look at this. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should. But I see that she has all the usual suspects here. She's got a very detailed, it says, this is an $8 pattern. That's $2 more than those initial mitts that we looked at, the Songbird mitts. Just throwing that out there. Great price. I wanted a pullover that felt easy and chunky and cozy without being bulky. This is where I landed. Quick and simple knitting and beautiful yarn with a bit of detail to keep it fun. I used a needle one size larger than I usually do with Nest and worked Moccasin at a subtly larger gauge, making for a quick knit and easier cable work. Moccasin features a thick, rounded motif with beautiful lines on both body and sleeves. The chunky nature of the cable I used is balanced by delicate garter stitch ribs and surrounded by stockinette panels. A loose fit makes the sweater easy to throw on, and the deep collar with a faux button detail adds a touch of polish to the whole thing. My favorite moment in the finished pullover might be the view from the side, yes, where the sleeve cable hits the cuff and those buttons on the collar are visible. Knit in this deep and perfect navy blue. Oh, it's a navy blue. It looked like a slate gray to me. It's traditional and nautical and would be right at home in a dark bar or pub along the English coast. Moccasin is worked from the bottom up in the round. The body is then split into the front and the back at the armholes. The front and the back pieces are worked, and sleeves stitches are picked up around neckline and armhole openings and worked in the round to the end. If you're looking for one of my sweaters suitable for a less experienced cable knitter, this is a good pattern for you. The larger gauge, a limited number of cables, and lots of stockinette make for a great knit on which to practice. Plus, modifications for fit on Moccasin can be done without touching the charted sections. As always, the cable instructions are both written and charted out, and notes are in the pattern at places you may want to modify your sweater to a personal fit. You know that scene in The Christmas Story where he's having this imaginings, he's imagining his teacher giving him a grade on the thesis that he writes, or his like theme that he has to write about what he wants for Christmas. And she's like, A plus, plus, plus on the board, just all the way around the classroom. That's this. Just all of this information that Thea is providing you is intelligent and thoughtful and just tells you where this idea came from, why she made the choices that she made, why she's using the yarn she's using with the needle that she's using. All of this is such valuable information for the knitter to have to understand what they're doing and why it's being done like this. And I think that is such a wonderful way to share your work with potential customers and knitters, right? Is to provide them with all of that information. And I think that is just so thoughtful and generous. And all of that is given to you before you spend a dime. And that's great because it really lets you know, it connects you to the pattern and to the designer in that regard. And it just makes you feel that much more comfortable or more able to make like an informed decision whether or not this is going to work for you as a design. Maybe this is too much. Maybe what she's mentioning here is enough to say, next time, maybe not this time. I'm going to give myself some more practice. But she's letting you know who this is for. And I think that that's so great. So page presence, I'm definitely giving this a 5. Design intelligence, I think that all of the things she's talking about here, she's giving you the rationale for why she's doing it, the wide neckline, the faux button band, the really lovely cables, and then also the side view here, and she even mentions it in her description. It looks like a set-in sleeve construction paired with a drop shoulder construction. I don't know what kind of magic is going on there, but I think that it is remarkable. So I'm giving her a 5 for design intelligence. I think it's really great. Oh, look at the back. I don't... Well, hold on. My only thing about this is I don't love the way the back comes up right here. I don't know why that happens in some sweaters, but I don't love that. It almost makes me wish that maybe short rows were added at some point here to bring the back down so that when you look at it from the side, you see how you can see it right here. It's kind of cropped here and cropped here, which cropped is not a problem. But when the back is not only cropped, but it almost creeps up and around like that, I don't love that. I don't know, but she's so cool and she looks so great in it. I don't love that. Okay, I'm going to take off 1 point for design intelligence. I'm going to put it at a 4. Guys, she knows more about knitting than I do. We're just doing this for variety, okay? This is a beautiful sweater. You could easily put in some short rows here to modify that part to bring it down in the back. But for my own personal preferences, that element there kind of just brings it down for me. And I don't know if I should take a ding on design intelligence or if it should be more my practical temptation. You know what? Maybe I'll keep design intelligence intact because it is such a thoughtful design. Like, she's put so much thought into this. So no, design intelligence is still a 5. But my practical temptation here has dropped. It was sitting at a 4, but I'm bringing it down to a 3. And I know we hadn't even gotten to that point yet, but I was definitely thinking, like, I like this, but there are a couple things that would make me not spring for this. And it's this shaping on the back and it's the button band. For me personally, I wouldn't do it. I just don't love it on me. I want to put a pin in that. So my design temptation or practical temptation is a 3. My design intelligence is a 3. Page presence is a 5. First glance sizzle is a 2, guys, because of that photo we were talking about. Trend compatibility. These buttons that you see, I don't think that it transcends trends. I think that the little faux button thing can be kind of a design element that, if not done right by the knitter, maybe it's executed in a wonky way or something, can really take a sweater from being classic wardrobe staple to being very craft, right? That makes me think that this sweater, because when I look at it like this, you can't see that button band because it's covered by her hair. I look at that sweater and I'm like, that is on trend. It's slightly cropped. It's slightly boxy. It's got these cool cables, but not too many. It's got a nice wide and deep neckline here. So it gives it a very like on trend and also pretty classic sweater, throw it on and go vibe, right? So this photo, I think to myself, yeah, trendy for sure. This one, or I say trend compatible. Trend compatible, just classic. It transcends trends, in my opinion. Same. That's the one. This one, I see the buttons and I'm like, oh wait, if it didn't have the buttons, but once you add those buttons, you're adding this like quirky design element. It takes it. See, I love this on her. I love this on her, but if it didn't have the buttons, I would love it so much more. I think the buttons are cool. I think it's a cool feature and it's a fun design element to play with, but I think I would love this more and find it to be more trend compatible or timeless if it didn't have the buttons. So that means I'm going to drop this down to a 3. I don't know, some of them I have to be more, I'm dropping it down to a 3. Where are we now? All right, we've got first glance sizzle is a 2, page presence is a 5, practical temptation is a 3, design intelligence a 5, trend compatibility a 3. So we have 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. No way. 6, 18. I'm sorry. I can't math. The math is not mathing for me today. This is an 18 out of 25. Okay. I love this sweater minus the buttons. I'm just going to say that now. It's not like a drop in me from everything I'm doing to knit this, but I love it. But I'm sorry, you guys. It's just 72% hot. Based on this criteria, it's 72% hot right now. I mean, it's still mostly hot, right? I mean, we haven't gotten to 50% territory where it's only half hot. It's 72% hot. It definitely deserves its position in the hot right now list, okay? But it's just those few things based on like the photos and then that one like detail and these are very much my preferences, okay? So you just live your best life and do what you will. But this little thing right here, just and those buttons, it's dropping it for me. Otherwise, it's super hot, okay? But that's where I'm putting it, 72% hot. I'm sorry, what can I say? I'm keeping it real. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, pages 1 through 10 generate 4 and 48 items. Perfect, here we go. Okay, look out, folks. We're talking about Petite Knit. I know that's, it's always, you never know how people are going to take that. People like her for a reason, people. Calm down. This is what we want to see right here to get that initial first glance sizzle. Let me make sure I'm separating out. I'm looking at this, and this is similar to the previous design by Thea. Here, you get a lot of context in terms of like the setting of this photo, right? She's on a street. She's wearing this cute outfit with some denim. She has some kind of a cup in her hand. It's just, you get a lot of vibes happening here. But you know what you don't see a lot of? And this is where you have to find that happy medium of like how much of the sweater you put in the picture versus how much of the surroundings you show as well. Like Caitlin Hunter's King Salmon sweater right here. This is a really good example of how to get a little bit of both, right? I can see that she's standing in front of a watery place and I can see the detail on the sweater. I can also get a general overall idea of the shape of the sweater. So I'm seeing lots of good stuff with that. Okay, we're not talking about Caitlin's picture. We're talking about this one by Petite Knit. My initial reaction to this in terms of first glance sizzle is that I don't really know what I'm looking at. It looks like a cardigan, cream colored cardigan by Petite Knit, which could be like any other cream colored cardigan. There's nothing here drawing me in unless of course I'm a shill for Petite Knit, which I'm not. So I don't really know what it is that would be really drawing me in here. So I'm giving this one a 2 for first glance sizzle. Let's go ahead and open it up and see. Okay, yeah, like look, this right here, there's toggles on this. There's cables on this. Now my vision might be going bad, but I could see texture from where I was, but I couldn't see the details in the cables, and I definitely couldn't see the toggles or the really pretty tightly ribbed button band going on here. This picture gives me so much more to work with visually for that first glance than this one does. Even this gives you an idea of the lovely cables going on here. And then this one lets you know there's toggles and you're getting a more up close look. This is a beautiful sweater. Quite. There's another color here. Very common Petite Knit colors. It almost looks like the same colors as Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool. I know that's not what this is. Okay, let's look at what we have here. All right, usual suspects happening here. We have the sizes, we have the needle sizes, all of this. We have the pricing. And then, like most Petite Knit patterns, there's a lot of information here in terms of like the designer telling you the background of the design and how it's worked. Okay, so we're getting that here as well. And then we're getting a pretty detailed size guide with both inches and metric. And it tells you here how to determine the size and how to measure yourself to figure out what size you should knit. That's very helpful. All of this information is provided. We get a difficulty rating. She even provides a classification for difficulty here, which I think is great. This is from her website. So you get a classification for difficulty. She even tells you where you can find the buttons. She sells them, okay, which is cool. And let's see the yarn, the color of the yarn, and the color of the brown yarn as well. Okay, so first glance sizzle, we gave that a 2. Page presence, we're going to go ahead and give this one a 5. Her pattern pages are always pretty thorough, in my opinion. I like how she also provides you with a rationale for her difficulty rating. Practical temptation. This picture right here. No, let's go. Okay, I love the shape of this, and it is a tempting one. The cables look really pretty, look very classic. I love the wide set of those drop sleeves. It's like a drop shoulder construction, but the wide sleeves are really lovely looking. The one thing, and so to me, I would put this at a 4 in terms of practical temptation. The only thing about it that's a drawback to me is that it is a round neck cardigan. I don't like a round neck cardigan because I don't wear my cardigans buttoned. I like to wear them open. And I feel like a V-neck cardigan is more appealing to me. So because this is a round neck, I'm very much not tempted to make this. Like it's not something I would make. Unless I were to turn it into just a whole sweater and forget the cardigan aspect and just knit it completely in the round, it would make a badass crew neck sweater. It really would. If you were to take this and turn it into just like get rid of the cardigan opening and just knit it in the round, the shape is what makes that stand apart just as a crew neck sweater. Just imagine like a regular pullover. That would be amazing. That would be a showstopper to the point where I might even reconsider some of my upcoming projects. I don't know. I wonder how hard it would be to just turn that into a pullover. Does she have a Dagmar pullover? I don't really know, but I'm not going to go navigating away. But that's kind of my thoughts on that. So in terms of practical temptation, I'm putting it in a 2, only because that is a deal breaker for me. I just don't want a round neck cardigan. Otherwise, I think it's beautiful. So that's where I think about that, or what I think about that. Design intelligence. Let's read a little bit. The Dagmar jacket is worked from the top down in a textured pattern. First, the back yoke is worked back and forth and shaped with increases. Then the shoulders are worked from stitches, picked up and knitted along the top of the back yoke. The body is worked back and forth. The sleeves are worked in the round on a circular needle from stitches that are picked up, knitted along the armhole. Okay, all of this is very much standard for the way she does her top-down construction. Begin by knitting a swatch to determine which needle size will give you the correct gauge in the textured pattern. The swatch can be worked using a chart in the pattern. I mean, I think that this detailing along the back and the shoulder seam is really lovely. It doesn't match up. I'm just being nitpicky. Okay, just take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't match up here and here. So the front shoulder and the back shoulder don't match up in terms of the cable. Does that make it less intelligent in terms of design? Absolutely not. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 for design intelligence. Okay, so far we have a 2. I have to do this as I go. 2 for first glance sizzle. I have a 5 for page presence. I have a 2 for practical temptation. I have a 5 for design intelligence. No, I'm giving it a 4. There's nothing here that's like overly unique. So it's a 4. And I have we didn't do trend compatibility. I'm sorry. So let's go back looking at it here. The one thing that makes this trendy to me, as opposed to being timeless, is how deep the armholes are and subsequently how wide the upper arm is in this case. It gives it almost a bat wing silhouette. It's not, it's just a really deep armhole, and the way that the overall sweater is constructed, it's not intended to look like a bat wing sweater, but because it has these deep armholes, it just gives this like chunky, boxy, kind of oversized vibe, which is very on trend right now. And so this, to me, in terms of trend compatibility, is pretty high. The only thing that would take it down a notch are those toggles. I don't consider toggles to be timeless and classic. I think they're very much a preference thing. I don't think that they look good on every single sweater, and I don't think that putting them on a sweater, makes it a little bit less of a staple piece. Okay? I feel like they're more of an accent, and they they speak a little bit more loudly than like a nice tortoiseshell button. Okay, but do I think it's great? Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think they look really cool, but I do think that that pulls the trend factor back ever so slightly. So I'm going to give this a 4 for trend compatibility. So now we are at a 17. Is that correct? So we have a 4 for trend compatibility, a 4 for design intelligence, a 2 for practical temptation, a 5 for page presence, and a 2 for first glance sizzle. Yep, that's a 17 out of 25. It's 68% hot. And I think that what really hurt this, for this criteria, is the practical temptation in my eyes being that circular neckline and the first glance sizzle being that initial photo that's being used on the pattern search page. It just was really hard to kind of see what it is that you're getting just with this photo. It doesn't draw you in as much as you would like. Last one, let's dive into it and see what we're working with, okay? All right, so we're gonna go back pages 1 through 10, generate 9, and then 1 through 48, 25. Okay, this is it. Mosaic lady slipper. It looks like it's a table runner. It's this one right here. My preferences are really going to play a big part in the first glance sizzle. I don't have an interest in knitting a table runner, especially not one as intricate as that. So I'm going to try to be objective here. If somebody were looking for a really cool table runner, kind of short and sat in the middle of the table with this sizzle for them, I don't know. You know what? That doesn't do anything for me in terms of first glance sizzle. I don't really know what, no, I don't, I'm sorry, I'm giving it a 2. I'm sorry. It's a table runner. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Okay, let's open it up and see what's going on here. Now, this photo here, the top-down view of this gorgeous table runner with the gold flatware and the plates, this whole top-down view changes that first glance sizzle for me. If that were the image I saw on the browse page, that would have drawn my eye regardless. It's definitely more attractive to, even if it's just to take me in to be like, what is that? And then click on it and realize it's a table runner and be like, oh, wow, that's beautiful. And then click away. That's still enough sizzle to bring me in. Before, this picture right here is just too much white to attract my attention. And a portion of the table runner is blurred out because of the depth of field of the photo, right? I see everything right here. I mean, it's just very much evident what's happening here. And that's beautiful. So with this picture being the first picture that I see, that first glance sizzle is a 2. For sure. Definitely keeping that as a 2. Okay. Now, if I want to go to page presence, let's just take a look and see what we're working with here. This is by Lynn Adriansa. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Okay. This is crochet. It gives me, it's just recently published, gives me all the usual suspects. $8 pattern. It has a promotion going right here. It tells you what this is, inspired by the graceful lady slipper orchid, a beautiful addition to your handmade home decor. Bring timeless elegance to your table with a mosaic lady slipper table runner, a crochet design inspired by the delicate beauty of the lady slipper orchid. This piece combines graceful floral motifs with geometric detailing for a look that's both modern and classic. Okay, so it tells you what the technique is: overlay mosaic crochet technique, visual texture, rhythmic stitching that's relaxing yet rewarding. Whether used as a statement piece for your dining table or a thoughtful handmade gift, the Lady Slipper Table Runner brings a touch of botanical elegance to any home. It gives features here. Fully charted and detailed written instructions, works beautifully in high contrast or tonal colorways. Elegant design suitable for tables, sideboards, or dressers. I could definitely see it on a sideboard. I like how she mentions that. Suitable for tables, sideboards, or dressers. It causes you to re-visualize the item. If you're only thinking of it as a table runner, you're really narrowing out your, potential use of this item. But if she mentions a sideboard or a dresser. It might cause you to be like, oh, actually that would be beautiful in my home on my sideboard or my dresser. So that's smart. Perfect as a matching piece for other mosaic crochet decor. Okay, it gives you your sizes, yarn, colors, hook size, tells you what stitches you're going to be using here. It gives you an idea of some extra materials that you might need. And then it gives a note that using a thicker yarn and larger hook will result in a bigger project. Similarly, using a thinner yarn and a smaller hook will result in a smaller project. It tells you what your download is going to include, which is important because you want to know what you're paying for and what's included in that. And then you also have pattern support, and you can join these groups here to get more support as well. And then there's some more photos. This photo here, I feel like gives you a little bit more of an idea of the texture. Pretty. This looks lovely to me on this coffee table. Yeah, that's beautiful. The photos are fantastic. But this is the one that catches my eye. Okay, practical temptation, or, let's go to page presence. This is a 5 for page presence. You're given everything you need, and you have a variety of photos here, and you're provided with different places that you could use this runner. This is a 5 for page presence for sure. It was a 2 for first glance sizzle, 5 for page presence. My own personal practical temptation is a 2 here. I'm not tempted to make this. However, my interest is piqued based on how I would use this, the suggestions that the designer puts in their project page, and the different photos. Okay, those are going to dictate how tempted I am to cast onto this, but just randomly and at a glance, it's pretty low. So I'm putting it at a 2. In terms of design intelligence, I'll tell you now this is a 5 because that to me is an incredible piece of art. How crisp and just the color work that goes into this. Of course, it's just a beautifully intelligent design for it to sit the way that it does. It's beautifully flat. It's shaped gorgeously. I don't know. I just love all of the different, the real crisp nature of the color work. Yeah, 5. Who am I to dock that any less? I don't see anything here that detracts from the overall style. So I don't know, I'm just going to give it a 5. In terms of trend compatibility, I don't know how trendy something like this is. I don't think this is a matter of something that is trendy or not. I guess maybe it's a little bit more on the side of kitschy, but it's it's like much more heirloom. Can something that's been made as like an heirloom piece be categorized as like on trend? Or is it just classic and timeless? I don't know. I'm giving this one a 3. I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I don't know how trendy that is. I mean, I see it here, and I see that I love that flatware. That's very on trend. But the thing about this that brings it back, like grounds it and makes it much more maybe like kitschy is the table runner itself, because it's handmade. Do I think table runners are super compatible with today's trends? I don't know. If it were longer and hung off the edges of the table, maybe I would give it a higher score. It's kind of short. And so I feel like because it's also being shown here as a table runner, it doesn't really fall into that trend compatibility. If it were there as like a dresser runner or like maybe a sideboard runner, maybe. Putting this at a 17%. No, excuse me. No, that does not math. 17 out of 25. A 68%, same as Petite Knit's last design that we had there. And that is 68% hot. Okay, so leading in today's hotness level is the Lily jacket that you see here at 92% hot. And then we have the Songbird mittens, and this came in at 84% hot. Moccasin, which is at 72% hot. The Dagmar jacket came in at 68% hot, followed by the Mosaic Lady Slipper Table Runner at 68% hot. There you have it, guys. We pulled 5 random patterns from Ravelry's Hot Right Now and figured out exactly how hot those are based on this criteria that I have here. It's all loose. It's all very much based in my own personal preferences, and it's all in good fun. I hope you guys had a good time with this. Play along, do it for your own, and see what you come up with. See how hot you know, be the judge of that hotness yourself. All right, that is it for me today. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will catch you guys for Thursday's video. Happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.